Hi, parents. It's Kim. I have coffee because I need some today. I'm actually starting back with some kids today, so I'm very excited. What I wanted to talk to you about behaviorally, as you know, I go to my mom's and sometimes I learn some lessons that I can bring back to you. And I certainly learned some lessons this time that I'd like to share with you. So in special education, we learn that you have to have at least 5 plans for every single task that you want to accomplish with someone. So, sometimes I've gone through all 5 plans and I don't know what to do next. So it's not just complicated for you, it's complicated for me as well. So this is the whole situation. For a few months, my mom's been having trouble with finding things to wear. So it's been really causing her distress. One, because she can't find anything to wear, even in a closet full of clothes. And two, because she realizes that she doesn't know where her clothes are, and that upsets her as well because she's a pretty smart cookie. She was a teacher. I'm from a family of teachers. But we're all different. My mom was elementary. My sister is secondary ed, so she does high school, and I'm special education. So, being a special education teacher really is helping me problem solve some of these problems for my parents. So I knew it was going to have to be tackled. So I made 5 plans. She started the second I got there about what she was going to take off at night and what she couldn't leave on for her shower, and then how the next day she can't get herself dressed, which she can get herself dressed. She just needed a good setup, something easier for her. I'm putting this as our behavioral tape because it really was affecting her socially and emotionally, and just that loss of confidence. So it really was a behavioral thing that we needed to change for her to feel at ease and more confident. So I have been observing her. I can't even tell you the last how many visits I've had with her, but don't think that I'm looking at her all the time as a special education teacher. I just told my mom and dad that just like for you guys, I want to make their life easier. And if I can use my training to do that, then I'm going to do that. So I have been observing her at the closet, at how anxious she gets before she has to go up and take a shower. And in the morning, it's just pure anxiety because she thinks that she doesn't know how to get dressed, which isn't the case. She, like I said, she can get herself dressed. So I spent the last couple months really observing what's going on. That is important with your child. Just sit there and just watch what they do and observe. We call them behavioral patterns, so the shower and getting dressed were the things that were upsetting her. So that's a pattern because it happened every day. So say you notice that your child, sorry, I gotta fix my leg. I'm old now. I get old injuries. So say your child is getting frustrated at a certain time of the day. Well, watch what's going on before you even try to intervene. If they're able to eventually get it done by themselves and work through it. That's what we're working towards. So sometimes we intervene too quickly. With my mom, I try not to intervene too quickly, because there was a point when I was meeting all her needs, it seemed, before she could even get the words out. And she literally told me, back off. And I respected that, because that was her telling me what she needed. Now, your toddlers, your preschoolers, they might cry, they might push you away, they might tell you no. I love it when a toddler tells me no. So that's them telling you, back off. Let me try and figure this out for a second. Now, I'm not saying let them go into a full tantrum where they're so frustrated that they cannot figure out what they want. That's not the goal. The goal is not to frustrate them, like I said, into some sort of meltdown. The goal is to actually use their frustration so that they have the motivation to solve the problem. I say it all the time. Our owner has a saying that frustration leads to language, and it does. My kiddos who don't want to talk, when they're mad at me, they say things. They say a lot. Even if they're just making sounds at me, growling at me, I get that a lot. I know what they're saying. They're saying, Mrs. Kim, no, I don't want to do this. It's hard for me. So that's when you've probably seen me do it with your child, if you've met me yet, where we have the tantrum and we work through the tantrum. But this is different. This is more of a single task or something that's getting them frustrated. It can definitely lead to a tantrum. And like I said, let the tantrum happen, let them cope, and then work on what it was that was frustrating them to begin with. So my mom is obviously not having tantrums, but I can feel the anxiety and frustration. Like, it's just like these waves that I just feel from her, because I'm an anxious person myself. So, okay, here's what we did. After I had observed her doing many different tasks, I informally kind of, in my mind, could see what general skills were giving her the most trouble. So like scanning from left to right was giving her trouble, which that gives a lot of your kiddos trouble too. You may hear me refer to it as scanning a crowded visual field. All that means is a bunch of stuff in one spot. So I knew she had that. Trouble with that, excuse me. I knew she had difficulty with what's called motor planning. So she knows what she wants to do, but she isn't making the connection between what her mind wants and then using her body. So motor, right? Planning. So she can't look at something and then think, okay, how with my body do I start that? That's just a difficulty for her. So I saw those two things, and I knew that whatever my solution was, it had to take those two things into consideration, as well as her loss of memory, which actually isn't that bad. It's crazy. She can't, the days of the week she gets caught up on, or appointments or birthdays. It all has to do with dates with her that she isn't remembering. So that's good. I mean, she remembers all of us, and it is affecting her life skills, things like dressing, a little bit with feeding herself. My dad has to give her some cues, small bites. But that all goes along with dementia. So that's very expected for us. So this thing with the undressing and dressing, the evening that I got there, she asked me to observe her doing a specific self-care task. All the steps were there. She had it all 100%. She could do it herself. So what I found for that task was she just needed a little support to set it up for her. What I mean by that was going up with her into the bathroom, and she said, what do I take off? I can't wear my slippers in the shower. And I said, you're right. You can't wear your slippers in the shower. So I said, you have 4 things to take off. Let's count them. And we did. We counted them. And that was our strategy while I was there for like 4 days. And she remembered it because we'd be sitting and I could see her like going 1, 2, 3, 4. So she was relating to that. So that was really great. But once she was past that, everything was great. She even got out her blow dryer and blew dry her own hair perfectly. Putting the stuff away was a little bit of an issue, but who cares? She did it. Like, she did it by herself. And that was the biggest thing. So for that task, it was more of setting her up correctly. You always hear it, the expression setting up for success. Well, that's what you have to do. If you see that your child is having stress with one thing, whatever it is, try and set them up for success. If they're having trouble, at the dinner table, using a fork and a spoon, maybe just put out the one they're more successful with until the frustration level goes down, and then introduce the second utensil for them to try to use. Bedtime, they like to wear the same pajamas every night, and you don't have a struggle. That's fine, right? I mean, in summer, yeah, they'll sweat. So you can even just, wash it in the sink in the pajamas and they'll be dry by bedtime. If you hang them, that's what I do. I don't want to run the washing machine for like one thing, because my kids have certain things that they like to wear again and again and again. So I just do a sink wash. But then, I set them up for success. They're not frustrated. They can find it the next day. So the biggest one was tackling the getting dressed. What had happened was my mom, like I said, she couldn't scan her closet. She couldn't motor plan how to take things even off of hangers. She can hang things back up, like her jackets. She has no problem with that. But with her own personal closet, that was the thing. And we had cleaned it out. So one of the steps that I had tried, and my father actually suggested this. He said, can you please clean out the closet with your mom? And that was the last time. And I could see her, I couldn't just see her anxiety. Like I said, I could feel it. So you might be able to feel that from your child, like, whoa, we're working on this thing and I am feeling uncomfortable and I am feeling unsure. So just keep reassuring them, don't worry, we're going to get this done. It's going to be okay. And you see my face and you hear my voice. That's exactly how I do it. So my mom first just stood there at the closet, not knowing what to do. So I showed her, to the left, here's where we put all your summer shirts, because it was spring when I was there and we had snow into May, same with Cleveland. So like I had her spring stuff right in the front. the pants, and, the not as heavy as a winter top, but, a little lighter, whatever. So I said, your summer shirts are right here on the left. And I pointed to them, and I noticed when I did the cue, yes, she could absolutely look over this way to the left. And then I said, Mom, she likes the little shorty pants like I like for summer. You'll see me in them hopefully sometime soon. And then I said, your little shorty pants are over here on the right. And I pointed to them, and yes, she looked over there. But the second I stopped pointing, she went right to the middle again. She wasn't scanning on her own. And I realized at that moment, closet is not going to work. Nothing in the closet that I do is going to work. So my next plan was that actually erased 4 out of 5 of the plans. No lie. The fact that she couldn't understand the constructs of a closet anymore, because the first 4 of my plans had to do with the closet. So I was feeling a little stressed because I was like, uh-oh, that eliminates 4 out of my 5 plans. And I knew my mom wanted to come out with a plan right from that session. So of us doing this, my mom wants a plan at that moment. That's just the personality that she is. She's a very A-type personality. She has always in her life strived to do everything perfectly for our family, for the students that she taught, for her friends, everybody. She wants everything to always go perfect, and she wants to get it right on the first try. So I was like, oh, I guess we're going to try plan number 5. So plan number 5 was a much simpler plan. I had been observing, like we had talked about, when I went into her bedroom, she has a chair that belonged to her mother. And I noticed she had been putting her most comfortable winter outfit, the one that gave her comfort and the one that she could find in the closet, she had been putting it over that chair. And I asked my dad, I said, do you care if things aren't in the closet? Before I even went up, I asked him, he said, no, just get something that's easy for her, because it's sad for him to see her struggle, and he can't figure out the way. He has figured out every other way to do things, though. My father is an angel, just an angel in my mother's and in all of our lives, the way that he takes care of her. But this one, he couldn't get figured out on his own. So I had asked him, do you care if things are out of the closet? And he said, nope. So I said, Mom, I've been noticing you've been putting your clothes over your chair at night. I said, would you be willing to work from that chair? And I could see it kind of like get that anxiousness, because it's different. It's something very different for her. And, she's never done it that way. She's a very neat and tidy person, like I said. So no, it's supposed to come from the closet. And she said, well, too, your dad wants to keep a very nice room like I do. And I said, well, we have Dad's blanket permission to make this work for you and make it easy for you. And the whole time, you could see my face. I'm smiling and talking through the frustration. So it kind of clicked that maybe that would be okay for her. Well, then she started pulling hangers out of the closet. And because she was just rattled in how are we going to do this? So I said, Mom, why don't you sit on the bed? Because I can tell you're very anxious. I will take things off of the hanger, the clothes that you would like to wear this summer, and then you and I can fold them. She folds clothes like no other human being in the world. She also irons. As I was ironing Maddie's, my daughter, cap and gown and dress and my dress for graduation. We had it on Tuesday. I was thinking of her because she would spend like an entire afternoon ironing my father's clothes, even his undershirts. Like, that's how structured her life was. So that's another reason this is very difficult for her. So I just started taking things off the hanger, throwing the hanger down, and just giving her shirts to fold. You know, do you like this one? Do you want to wear this one this summer? Yes. And then we had our pile of shirts, and we folded them together. I do not correct something in front of the person. Meaning, I did this with my kids. So Maddie loved to help me fold clothes. Hold on, I need a sip of coffee. I was home with her 2 days a week, so we'd get the chores done, obviously. And her folding clothes was balling them up and putting it on top. I never corrected it until she went to nap, and I knew she was asleep, and she wouldn't see me correct it because she was so proud of just folding it, you know, that she had done that was her accomplishment, that I didn't fix it until she was asleep. So same with my mom. The motor planning of folding the shirts, she was having trouble. And it's not like she was doing it in a ball, but she was folding them, and she was sort of getting them. I mean, you could tell they were folded, so that was a positive. The only reason I wanted to correct it was because she hates wrinkles. So after she was downstairs, after everything was done, I refolded the shirts that she folded, and she never noticed because they were in a pile, just so that, you know, she could feel pride in her clothes and not have them all wrinkled. So we took the pile and we put it on her mother's chair. And then I said, Mom, what are we missing? And she said, pants. And I was happy she said pants because I know cognitively it's still there. She knows, like I said, she just needs to be set up for success. So I took all the pants off the hangers, and she helped me fold those as well. I swear to God, she had like 10 pairs of those shorty pants. Now, okay, 4 of them I bought her last year because I noticed in watching that she feels better in certain clothes. So the ones that she liked, I went back to Macy's and I bought 4 more pair of them so that she would have them in rotation. This was like not Mother's Day that just passed. This was like a year ago, Mother's Day. And then at Christmas, she was having trouble with long pants. And we found a pair at Macy's. And of course, I asked her because of the shorty pants that I had bought her at Mother's Day. Should we get more pants, Mom? Meaning, you know, of the same ones. And she's like, no, I just want these. So then later, I went back to Macy's and I bought her 2 more of those pants, so that she would have them, and I gave them to her for Christmas. And they already fit her, so they were perfect. They just needed to be shortened because she's a shorty like me. And so she has things that she feels better. You might have a child who has sensory issues. And that's kind of what it is with my mother. I'm noticing certain textures, certain fabrics, they don't feel right to her. So I know not to force her into them. So long story short, she had 800 pair of pants. So then we folded them and we put them next to each other on her mother's chair in her bedroom. That night, my dad took her up to shower, and we had been, you know, concentrating on the 1, 2, 3, 4. And I said to my dad, I said, I don't care if they're not dirty. Throw them, just have her throw them in the hamper. I said, it's summer. Of course, you probably want to change your shirt. I said, but I realize she can wear her shorty pants more than one day. But I said, for her, just make it simple where she throws them in the hamper. I said, you can take the shorty pants back out and fold them and put them in the pile. I don't care. But mom is getting stressed out about, well, I've got them off. Now what do I do with them? Do I throw them? And that's where she was throwing them over her mother's chair in her bedroom. And that's where I got that idea of the chair. So it all, when you observe, it all comes back like in a circular, or in a circle, actually. One thing leads you into the next when you intervene. And then you realize like, oh, hey, for this other thing, I could totally try that. So she got it. And then the next morning I went up with her. I would not help her. I just gave her verbal cues, meaning, okay, what do you do next? That's a verbal cue. I like to ask it in a question. If your toddler or preschooler is old enough to understand and answer questions, that's okay. For toddlers, you can't ask the question, but you can give the verbal. Well, some toddlers, I'm not going to lie, some of my toddlers have skills up past 4 years old. And they understand the whole question and answer thing. So a verbal cue for someone who doesn't understand the question and answer is just, oh, your pants are over there. So say, you were having a dressing issue. But so if my mom couldn't understand and answer the questions, I would say, well, your pants, let's start with your pants. They're right on the chair. So, and I made her get them. I did not get them for her. She went over and of course, she did not pick the pair of pants that was on top because she wanted to wear what she liked. So, of course, our pile of nicely folded pants got a little messed up. But like I said, I just made it better when she went downstairs because she has her favorite colors. I think that's what it is. It's a color thing. The shirt she picked right up off the top. After she had on the pants, I said to her, what do you need next? And she said, a shirt. And I said, yes, you are right. She put on her shirt. It literally took us, aside from the first day, we did her closet that morning, and that took probably only like a half an hour to 45 minutes with, her anxiety going up and down and really trying to figure out a good system for her. So, but to get dressed on the second day, literally, it was like, we went up, she took off, her nightgown and a shirt that she wears over it. And, she just needed the cue of where to hang it up. So I said, where do you hang it up, Mom? In the bathroom. Where are the hooks? And she found the hooks. And then we went in 2 minutes. It took her 2 minutes to get dressed. And we were right back downstairs. And my father was like, and I said, well, it looks like we found an easier system. And so I was there for 4 days. And I was the one who went up with her every morning to get dressed. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So this week, I call them every day, but this week I actually asked because I didn't want to ask. I wanted it to I told my dad, just, let it naturally happen. Because my dad is also a type A personality and he's always doing something. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So I wanted to see how my dad did with it too, because I was the one who went up with her. He said the dressing was going wonderfully. Here was the interesting part that I loved. So we had been concentrating on the 1, 2, 3, 4, counting down, before shower, what needed to go into the hamper or taken off. I guess you don't put your slippers in a hamper. My mom is the slipper queen. She even has like 2 backup pair of slippers and my father always makes sure, like since we were kids, She has been the slipper queen, so her slippers don't go in there, but she knows that. He said, you know, Kim, we were trying your 1, 2, 3, 4, and we actually found a better way. And I was so excited about that because that's what behavioral intervention therapy is. It's I give you the tools and you try my way just to begin with, you know, if you can't think of something. But as you're going through that, you're going to find a way that eventually you're going to find a way, or hopefully at the very beginning, you're going to find a way that works for your child. The only way to figure that out is to do that observing, like I told you, not forcing. Always, like I said, when I'm with my mom and dad, trying to talk them through something, I'm smiling, smiling with my whole face, my eyes, everything, my voice, because nobody will want to work through something with you if you look upset or angry or like you don't want to help them. I kept reminding my mom and dad, you know, I'm here to help. I'm here to make your life easier, hopefully. You know, so if I step over boundaries, that's not my intention. I just really, I want to help you guys. And they were very open to it, I think, because of the way that I presented it to them, that I wasn't going to force them into anything. And then here, my dad, who was so concerned, he figured out the way himself. And in a way, he was set up for success because my mom, her anxiety had gone down because at least we had a plan until my dad could figure out what was the perfect plan for them. And now when I call her, she's not distraught. I mean, she was really distraught over this whole dressing and undressing thing. And now when I talk to her, I said, you sound happier. And her exact words were, I am happier. I mean, what could be better than that, right? So what could be better than that with your child? You know, to look at them and they might not be able to tell you they're happy, but you can tell, you know, your child. Is your child in distress or are they working towards that happiness? It took months for me to figure that out for my mother because this whole clothing thing started in like I want to say the beginning of winter, like in December. It started. So I just kept observing and trying. And it took me, so it's June. I think that's about 6 months. It took me 6 months to figure that out. And I'm a behavior specialist. And she's been my mom for 46 years. So I don't want you to get discouraged. So what I want you to take away from this is watch your children and what they're getting upset about. Don't be so quick to intervene immediately. Watch and see, what are they getting frustrated with? What part can they do? What part can't they do? If it turns into a tantrum, yes, you need to intervene sooner than later with setting them up for success. But you know me, let them have the tantrum because it's being frustrated, and let them learn how to cope with that. And then when they're done, let's try and set them up for success. Might not be able to do it that day because they just had a tantrum over it. But the next day, you saw what it was, and you'll be able to hopefully offer them some suggestions to help them. Well, you wouldn't offer suggestions. You would actually probably, with a toddler, offer, you know, physical help. You know, you just say, do you want help? You want mommy to help? Or daddy, do you want daddy to help? And you see my face, I'm smiling with everything, and I'm using my tone of voice, and, you know, and always be using the phraseology that we talked about. I'm sorry you're upset. I'm sorry you're frustrated. I'm sorry. They usually, like we said, understand mad, sad, and happy. So if you see it's one of those things, I'm sorry you're mad. Usually frustration looks mad in the sessions that I do. But it can also they can just crumple and fall to tears. And, I'm sorry that you're sad, but don't worry. We're going to get through it together. That's another big phrase. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. Mrs. Kim's going to help you. I would never, leave you. I'm going to help you. So always positive talk in these times that are rough. It gets frustrating. It really does get frustrating for us who are taking care of either the little ones or our spouses who have a chronic illness, or taking care of anybody in life. And that's what we all should be doing, is taking care of each other. So always be using that kind voice. And I'm not going to guarantee you that it's going to get solved tomorrow. Like I said, it took me 6 months to figure out the right route with my mom. And then on top of that, my dad took the plan and he modified it for them, which was so perfect. So that's what this is all about. I'm going to give you tools. I'm going to give you, all the advice, encouragement, and cheerleading in the world. It's up for you guys, or it's up to you guys to take this information and figure out what it is that's stressing out your child so much and work with them. If they're crying, like I said, comfort them. I'm sorry you're sad. We'll do it together when you're ready. And let them have it out. I let my mom have that. It wasn't an anxiety attack, but I let her anxiety go to about a level. I said, what are you at? From 1 to 10, what are you at? 10. This was a 10 for her. She had, in her mind, it had become a 10 because she was just the one thing that she couldn't stop thinking about, that she couldn't get done. So, I would never compare my mother to a toddler. She's a very smart woman, and she knows a lot of stuff. But some of the special education methods I'm using are very similar. So take my advice and make it your own. That is the best thing that happens, is when you take the guidelines and then you turn it into something that you can use. So, okay, this is a long one. My dad's not going to be excited, but too bad, Dad. This was important to talk about. So that's what I want you to remember. Watch for the patterns. Watch for what's frustrating them. And then think of, you can even write it down on a piece of paper. 5 things that might help them through that. It might be hand-over-hand assistance. Okay, great. It might be coming up next to them, using that proximity and, modeling it for them. It might be something as easy as a verbal cue like we talked about, or a physical cue where you literally put your hand on the child for direction and support. It's always in a comforting way. Or a physical cue is also pointing, over there. And that's using a verbal and a physical cue together. Just look right over there. It's right in front of you. And again, keeping your voice tone as happy and calming as you can, and set those little ones up for success as much as you can. That's my advice this week. That's my behavioral advice. I am learning more from my mom and dad, and I've always learned more from you families and your little ones than I ever learned in school. I loved my teachers in school, don't get me wrong. They were terrific, and they really tried to prepare me, but nothing prepared me until I really got out there with you guys. So this is just what I've learned over, I think I've been a teacher it's either 23 or 24 years. I'm always a year off. So these are my lessons that I've learned over the past however many of those years. So I hope that I can pass them on to you and they can help you. So hopefully we'll be back together soon and we'll be able to talk this out in person. Until then, I'm with you. I'm your cheerleader. Text me. Let me know what's going on. And maybe I can guide you in the right direction. All right, families, you know that I love you and I'm always here for you. Take care and be safe. Even though we're going out right now, it doesn't mean that we're relaxing the rules. So I want all my family safe 100% so that we can see each other again. All right? Peace, love, safety. I will talk to you soon.